This is a nice surprise, obviously. As Billy mentioned, I know our parents are here in spirit, but I love to see the looks on their faces because no one would be more surprised than them. It really was touch and go there for a number of years. And I'm not sure I would recommend to someone coming up to take the Zandt way of doing things, exactly. Our folks were not showbiz people. Nana Lento was probably the closest we came to having an entertainer in the family. Grandpa was a shoemaker from Calabria, so I suppose we could have followed in his footsteps, so to speak. And all of our uncles worked in the construction business. I don't want to hear it, Brian. So, you know, that would have been the logical thing for us to do, and in fact, I did that for a while. Daddy had a trumpet, but I never saw him play it. And Ma was an old school housewife and mother, which was considered a very fulfilling, full-time, legitimate job in those days, and still is. She was the oldest of the 5 kids in her family, which made her way too often the substitute mother, and consequently never really got a chance to dream, never mind follow or fulfill that dream. She was probably thankful that she got a second chance to fall in love, which happened to be with a guy from Jersey named William Van Zandt. And lucky for me, he was a guy who was very secure and strong enough to marry a woman with a 7-year-old kid. Not done that often in the 50s. Something else that was not done that often in the 50s was getting divorced, especially if you're Catholic. And Ma was brought up very strict Catholic. So it must have taken a lot for her to get divorced with a kid, looking at a very uncertain future. And she would pretend to change teams because Bill Van Zandt was a Baptist. But she never did eat meat on Friday and would sneakily pray to St. Anthony whenever something got misplaced in the house. So they were both pretty tough. And I think all 3 of us kids, including my sister Kathy, inherited some of that toughness which we were going to need, considering the paths that we took. And of the 3 of us, Kathy is by far the toughest, because while me and Billy were running around trying to fight our way into the show business, she had to deal with the reality of keeping the family together, which we were running as fast as we could away from anything that resembled responsibility or obligation. So make no mistake about it, this is her honor as much as ours. Yay! Maybe more so. Our parents didn't talk much about themselves, which was just part of that greatest generation's stoicism. And one of my biggest regrets is not having more conversations with them. I got 2 main things from my father. One was a very strong sense of patriotism. He was an ex-Marine Goldwater Republican. Now, let's hear it for Barry. Now, my form of patriotism would go in a slightly different direction, but the common ground was the true meaning of patriotism, which has no party affiliation, no matter how they try and co-opt it, but is simply a love of our country and the ideas it stands for and the ideals we continue to fight for. The other thing I got from him is the only thing I remember him ever saying to me, which is, if you're gonna do something, do it right. Like I say, he was a man of few words. I continue to try and live up to his work ethic, and that combined with my mother's strong sense of compassion and calm under pressure is pretty much who I ended up being. So with all the ups and downs, drama, heartbreak, bad decisions, sometimes the easier logical path not taken. This is a wonderful validation that the three of us must have done something right. And I want to thank Mayor Perry, Tara Benson. I'm going to forget some of the names here. There's so many people involved with this. Kevin Langan, whose idea it was, Rob Dippold and Mike Fordham from Primary Wave. Of course, Steve Edwards and Gary Taffet from the New Jersey Hall of Fame. Eliza Rosenthal, and Ross Clark, and everybody at PSC for helping put this together. My good friend, wise ass Brian Williams. I never leave home without him. And I close with my only regret. My relationship with law enforcement is quite good these days. I give pretty much the biggest fundraiser for law enforcement in the country every year. And, the relationship wasn't always that good. And, for those of you a little bit older, you may have, recalled an altercation or two, which is why it's a damn shame that Chief Joseph McCarthy didn't live long enough to be here today. We had an interesting relationship. And it would have been just marvelous for him to have to see my name on his mail every day. Thank you very much.
World class, Speedy Van Zandt, Brian Williams, another New Jersey Hall of Famer.